Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on The Flash Season 6. So we are now in the actual final stages of the first half of this season of the Arrowverse as we head into the final episodes for all the shows that are, currently airing at least, before Crisis on Infinite Earths kicks off next Sunday. Of course, that crossover event starting on Supergirl, then Batwoman, then Flash, then we have the big break, and then we have a 2-hour finale with Arrow and Legends on January 14th. So in these episodes, do expect a teaser at the end of them. I would be expecting the same one after all the shows, pretty much the same as what we got last season with the Earth 90 scene, leading into Elseworlds. That same scene played as the cliffhanger for all the shows, so maybe something with the Anti-Monitor might appear. I would say maybe something with Pariah, just because that's how Crisis really starts. But the Flash might still have stuff to do around all of that, so they might not touch that character until Flash, or just Crisis in general, but that's for us to wait and see. We'll learn, in Supergirl, so yeah. So just firstly, the first thing I want to talk about is something that I won't really mention too much going forward. I don't want to be one of those people that's just mentioning this every single time and just annoying you with it, but there is a new feature on YouTube, specifically for my channel at least. It's just been introduced to me, or at least I've activated, called memberships. Now there is a little video over there on the memberships area explaining everything in more detail and how it works and what you get in the various tiers and stuff like that. To do it, basically, as you can see on screen at the moment, there should be like a grey button that says join. I think this might only be on PC. It will be either under my video, or you can go to my channel page and it'll be there as well. If you click that, you'll see the video and you'll see all the information there you need to check out. So if you do like my stuff and you want to help support me and just get more stuff from the channel, best to check it out. It explains everything, and it will benefit you, so yeah, go check it out. But in this video, for the most part, we're going to be going over an interview with Senthil Ramamurthy, who of course plays Ramsey Rosso, aka Bloodwork, throughout this opening portion of The Flash for this season. And this interview will be specifically about the final 2 episodes. But we will also be going over where this could lead post the mid-season finale, which is also post-Crisis as well. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know all of your various opinions in the comments section down below in regards to this, because there is some stuff here which people might be like, oh, okay, this could lead this way or this way, so you might have different theories around it, so I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like in it to show your support. But yeah, this interview is from TV Line. I will leave the full interview linked in the description down below if you want to go check it out. But we're just going to read out the questions, then read out the answers, and when relevant, break it down a bit more. For the record, remind us what exactly Ramsey is doing with people and to what end. He gloms onto someone with a gooey tendril and sucks their blood? Yeah, he basically gains life by their blood because his blood has been contaminated by HLH. And because they are scared to death at the time, their adrenaline-infused cells are the secret sauce. Exactly, they have to be scared for their life in order for it to work. And they turn into zombies, While I appreciate Bloodwork wanting to take his big swing now, his timing kind of sucks. Team Flash is pretty busy dealing with other things. I know, but this week is a direct pickup right after I get my hands on Ralph. So just quickly, obviously this is some stuff from episode 1. This interview was done obviously leading up to episode 7. Did I say episode 1, part 1, whatever it was? Leading up to that first part, which is episode 7. Now that's a common thing that a lot of people have, if they have had complaints, because I think this season, the opening half, has been pretty damn good. I think obviously the Cisco episode sort of just it was a bit of a swerve off the path, if you want to call it. It just felt like you were going off. There was some stuff with Nash Wells, but obviously the Cisco stuff did feel like a swerve off. Even though it was a decent episode in regards to just some Cisco stuff, it did feel like a bit of a swerve and a bit of a, just we're going off the path here from what we're trying to go for this season. But outside of that, I think every episode has served a purpose. Even the one before last, episode 6, people called that a filler episode when not really. I think if you did call it a filler episode, you weren't paying attention, I guess, because it was major stuff for both Sue Dearborn, which is going to play into the back half, as well as Black Hole, which is 100% going to play into the villain for the back half as well. So I don't know how you could really call that filler. So everything's played in really well. The only criticism, I guess you could say, is that maybe there should have been more blood work, but the reason they couldn't have been maybe another episode or 2 with more blood work focus was because it was Crisis focus. So they sort of do allude to it here that, Crisis has sort of gone in the way of maybe having a full proper arc for blood work, but I think them being, using the characters sparingly is going to make episode 7 and 8 much better. Obviously, episode 7 was easily the best episode this season, and I think holding off on any major interactions between Barry and Ramsey, in this form, was the best way to go. And I can't wait to see where that leads into in part 2, where, Barry's not fully there and it's up to Team Flash to deal with Ramsey. So I think holding off on it has worked out in the end, but I can understand maybe if you're thinking in those first 6 episodes, hey, maybe we should have got a bit more Ramsey here and there. But I think in the end, with the end product, it was the best way to go. What is the nature of the Ramsey/Barry scenes in part 1? I see photos of the two of you talking, and Ramsey looks normal and level-headed. Basically, they're kind of going through the same thing right now, trying to elude death. This is a 2-parter, and the first part is more about one long conversation between Ramsey and Barry about their particular circumstances and why they find themselves in this situation. Sometimes when you get dialogue-heavy episodes in genre shows, it can get kind of monotonous. But here, because of the subject matter and hopefully it performs well, it will be interesting TV to watch. And obviously it was. I think the vast majority of people think it was the best episode of the season and arguably maybe in the top 10, if not, I saw some people saying it was like top 5, which I can understand. I think for me it's probably top 10, but some people didn't like it. And I think that's maybe just because it was dialogue heavy and some people just want action and, that type of stuff on screen. But I think this was the best way to do part 1 leading into part 2, which looks like it's going to be that more action-y stuff. Might this turn out to be a Beauty and the Beast situation where some well-chosen comforting words from Caitlin can talk Ramsey off the ledge, or is he just too far gone? We'll definitely see more of Caitlin and Ramsey. That relationship is special to Ramsey and means something to him, so I think it would be safe to say there will be interactions between them to try and rectify things. Whether Ramsey is too far gone or not at this point is what we are waiting to see. Now, we know that like Iris and Cisco are going to be very important in regards to getting through to Barry and trying to get him out of that, that version of whatever he is at the moment. I guess you could call it Negative Flash, even though there's a different name, which we will come back to in a second. But by the way that Send Hill refers to this situation with Caitlin and Ramsey, it seems that Caitlin might be that sort of thing for Ramsey, trying to get through to him, trying to break him out. I don't know if it'd be successful, because I think if it was successful, then are they trying to say that maybe Ramsey shows up in the back half as sort of like an ally or something? A bit of a testy pop there as an ally. And I don't think they'd go down that route just because there are a lot of characters already. Then you got Chester P. Runk, you got Allegra coming in, Camilla's playing a bigger role. I think that's too much. So it might be like a failed attempt, but maybe there's a slither of hope, but eventually just doesn't play out, unfortunately. Because of the looming crisis, will Iris have opportunity to react or get pulled into Bloodwork's nefarious plans for the Flash? She gets pulled into it, and in a really cool way. I hadn't had a chance to work with Candace Patton, but I got the opportunity in these last episodes to do some fun stuff with her. There is one scene in particular that's actually really, really touching, and Candace did a great job with it. Now, I'm just guessing this is going to be, Iris trying to get through to Barry. That's probably what it is. Or maybe it could be her begging to Ramsey. Something along those lines, but we'll have to wait and see. Tell me, when you are there on set, doing what will eventually be an effects-heavy scene, how ridiculous do you look jutting out your arm to mime your manipulation of goo? I'd say that on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 12. I'm not going to lie to you, it feels pretty silly sticking your arm out and nothing's happening, and you don't know what they're going to do and how it's going to look. It's definitely a struggle sometimes, but Grant Gustin and I have a good time. We've both been doing the genre thing for a minute now, so we can appreciate the ridiculousness of that situation. Plus, everyone has been there. I can just picture Danielle Panabaker's shooting frost from her palms. No, Danielle actually can shoot frost out of her hands. She is that talented. Now, just quickly, I thought I'd just mention this. I think the Bloodwork stuff has actually been pretty good CGI-wise. Obviously, there was the thing at the beginning of last episode, in episode 7, which wasn't good, which was Ramsey and Ralph falling off the building. And people have really nitpicked that and slowed it down and, PS2 graphics, which, it doesn't look good. I wish they didn't focus on that too much. But I think the Bloodwork stuff has been really good, the CGI. I think it's actually worked well, and it just looks really weird in a good way, if that makes sense. Give me one last tease about what's coming up in these last 2 episodes of Graphic Novel Number 1. You can look forward to an epic confrontation between Ramsey and Barry, and it's all obviously leading up to the Crisis crossover and all that, which I think the fans are really going to enjoy. It has been a long time coming. So episode 8 should have a decent amount of Crisis setup, you'd have to think. It's going to be interesting to see how much of it, because we know from the promo images, there's at least a good 5 or 10 minutes maybe after Barry's, quote unquote cured or, taken back from what he's become. So I'm interested to see how much Crisis stuff there is. I have a feeling, and I think I mentioned this in maybe my trailer breakdown, or maybe it was my review, I can't remember which one it was, but I have a feeling the end of this episode is going to be something going off. Barry runs off, and that's when he gets picked up by Harbinger, and it's Harbinger or Lila Michaels, setting it off. and it's just basically her luring Barry out. I think that's maybe what the cliffhanger could be specifically for the Flash, and then we'll get something else at the end, like I was saying before, like that plays after all the episodes for that week. You know, similar to the Elseworld stuff from last season. But I don't know if you have any theories as to how this episode could end leading into Crisis that isn't that. Let me know. Now, in regards to the back half villain, I am expecting to get some teasers at least to it. Obviously, you'd have to think it's going to be around Black Hole, but the big theory is, and the funny thing is that it's hard to read what this guy is hinting at, but Josh Williamson, who is written basically, I think, all of the Flash Rebirth, where this, you know, Bloodwork's from Flash Rebirth, Black Hole's from Flash Rebirth, Godspeed is from Flash Rebirth. He has tweeted out a lot of stuff, like just GIFs from the Flash TV show, which makes you think that they're going to him and getting, you know, he's being almost like a consultant for the most part, or, you know, for the least part at least, in some way, shape or form. And they're just going back to him, throwing ideas. Hey, we're going to do this with the character. How would you do it differently and stuff like that. He's been tweeting out a lot of GIFs in regards to the Flash TV show. So you'd have to think the back half villain will have something to do with Black Hole and be one of the villains that he brought in. Now, Red Death isn't really his thing, which makes you think, are they going to do Red Death? They already teased him last season. Negative Flash is, I think, the number one choice. If I'm going to go based off what has been presented to us, I think Negative Flash is number one, but Red Death is something that has already been teased on the show and so many people want it. I wonder if they go down that route. Or maybe at the end of the season they introduce him in like a major tease that leads into season 7. I'm intrigued to see what they do there, because I think they're definitely going to do Red Death. I think there's been too much stuff around that for them not to do it. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think they're going to go with Red Death, or do you think they're going to go with Negative Flash? I think it's the most likely thing to go with, because it is important to point out now that Barry's version that we see right now, you know, him infected by Ramsey, is officially called Dark Flash. That's what he's labeled at. He's not labeled as the Negative Flash. He's labeled as Dark Flash. And that makes you think, if he's Dark Flash here, are they saving that name because there's going to be another character come in called the Negative Flash, which would tie into Black Hole, probably tie into maybe something that Barry might do. Maybe some of his blood goes onto someone, they get speedster powers, but also mixed with what's happening there with, you know, with Ramsey's blood. I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do there, because I'd like to think they're going to tease it, but that's for us to wait and find out. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all to go over from the video and this interview and stuff like that. If you enjoyed it, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on what we went over in the video and various theories you might have, especially about the villain in the back half. Intrigued to see what you guys think about that. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.